Welcome on in, everybody, here to the Postgame Pod at Auburn Undercover. Nathan King, joined by Patrick Bingham here inside of Neville Arena. We are not out on the court right now because we were told LSU women's basketball is getting ready to start their practice, which, having watched Kim Mulkey run a practice a few years ago when LSU played here, they played the next day. It is a sight to see. So maybe I have to walk back in there after we're done here. But a thriller, as per usual, a great game as we've come to expect between Alabama and Auburn, but unfortunately for the Tigers, they fall short for the second straight time on their home court. They dropped their second straight home basketball Iron Bowl, this one 96-92, to a hot shooting Crimson Tide team. And Patrick, that's really where this one starts and ends. It starts and ends with the defense for Auburn. As Stephen Pearl said in his postgame, for the first 18 minutes of this one, Auburn was executing things really well defensively. Alabama hit a three like 10 seconds into the game, but after that they only had the very first shot, just right away. After that they only attempted 4 threes in the next like 12 minutes. Auburn was doing a really good job of running them off the three-point line and saying, hey, you can take as many running two-point shots as you want, but wanted to keep them away from the three-point line. But there were 3 straight threes there before halftime that sort of turned the tide, no pun intended, that sort of turned things. The shooting percentages for Alabama just kept on going up in the second half, and an Auburn defense that has made strides this season, but is still an inconsistent group. It just felt like they just weren't able to catch it. Even when they were leading, it just felt like Alabama was eventually going to cascade, and they just weren't able to get enough stops down the stretch.
And that was the thing. Is first, when the defense was playing so well, I texted someone, I was like, gosh, it feels like you need to build a bigger lead here because the threes were not falling until, and we'll talk about it, that stretch, the final 2 minutes of the first half. I mean, Alabama really wasn't doing a whole lot on offense. They were able to kind of drive some, but Auburn, as you said, was pushing them off the threes. And I was like, man, this is your chance to build a big lead. And they ended up getting up 10. And then Alabama bangs in a couple threes to end the first half, and that just set the tone for the rest of the game.
Yeah, Auburn leads, to your point, Auburn leads by as many as 10 in the first half, but Nate Oates said on their radio going into halftime, he said, we're fortunate to only be down 4. That's what he said post-game as well, and it really did feel that way. Auburn was outplaying them in so many different facets, but all of a sudden, and we've seen it because people here know what this Alabama offense looks like, when they start hitting those shots, it's kind of a nervous energy, and that's why I said it felt like even when Auburn was leading in the second half, because Auburn led for 26 minutes of this game, and I don't know if I've done that math correctly.
Yeah,
26 minutes and only 14. You're good. And only 14 minutes Alabama led in this one, and it ends up that Alabama shoots 52% from 3 in the game. That is a season best. They make 12 3-pointers in this one, and down the stretch, Patrick, it really was LeBaron File, a couple guys that were either in an Auburn jersey or were expected to be in an Auburn jersey, made the impact in this one. LeBaron File and Aiden Holloway combined for 40 points. It felt like you had a chance there toward the end, and you made a couple stops. That Aiden Holloway 4-point play was kind of the killer, but to Stephen Pearl's point, it kind of spoke to what Stephen Pearl said after the game. Was he said in the timeout, like, look, guys, this is probably what they're going to run. They ran it, and Auburn just didn't execute defensively, and we knew that defense would be what would bite this team at some point this season, and it did earlier on in the year. I still think this team's better defensively than they were early in the season, but as Steven said after the game, 92 points on your home floor, like, you have to go and win that game. And
that was the thing, is like in the second half, when it kind of felt like Alabama was in control, Auburn was doing enough to stay in the game, and Todd had a few big three-pointers. There were some others from some other guys, but Alabama, I mean, there was a stretch. It made me think of you because we had talked about one of our favorite stretches of basketball ever was last year's 1-2 game where they were trading threes. There was a stretch like that, but at the end of the day, Alabama was kind of able just to keep them at arm's distance. And then, I mean, for as much as it's to the detriment of any Auburn fan watching this, the Aiden Holloway thing, that's got to be so sweet for him. I mean, even Andy said that on the radio because it's to make that shot in that moment. And honestly, the second shot was more impressive, in my opinion, driving in. And Steven talked about giving him the confidence when he makes the 3 to go make that play as well. I mean, that was just the dagger.
No, I mean, it's like Steven talked about it. Like, there's layers to basketball. There's layers to the mental side, especially of younger college basketball players. And, like, he didn't even bring up the fact that they fouled him on that. He was just like, you gave him an open 3-pointer, so then he's gonna have the confidence to come back and take a leaning, high degree of difficulty runner there toward the end. And Steven laid it out pretty plainly after the game. He said, our best players have got to defend better. He's talking about Todd Pettiford, Keyshawn Hall had some moments in this game that were very poor defensively, and he talked about Sebastian Williams Adams being really the only guy who was consistent. When he switched on to Phylon late in the game, Auburn got a couple stops. And down on the other end, it just not enough winning plays. There was a drive to the basket by Keyshawn Hall. You knew it was coming the whole time.
Yes,
it's like,
of course.
Is he going to get the call or isn't he? And obviously didn't in that moment. So Patrick Auburn drops to 5-5 in the league now, and this is another stretch continuing to go for them that they're playing more quad one games. Obviously, they get Vanderbilt on the road Vanderbilt at home on Tuesday, and they get Arkansas on the road. This one, not the end of the world. To me, this hurts more, though, that it just is Alabama.
Of course. It's a prize.
Sitting at 5-5 in the league is not necessarily a big deal. But this is an Alabama team that, went down and got killed by Florida, was playing sort of desperate. But if you're Auburn, you've got to turn the page really quickly now to a Tuesday night game, not a Wednesday night, Tuesday night game against another high-octane offense in Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I remember last week after Alabama got killed by Florida, Nate Oates was like, a lot of our seed lines, a lot of our SEC stuff comes down to these next two games. We have to be desperate. They go 2-0. I think Auburn's kind of in that same position where you're at 500.
And Auburn did that sort of thing a few weeks ago. They won their desperation games.
Yeah, that at Ole Miss and then the Florida game. And again, it's just one of those things where it's like that is the nature, and I feel like we've said this every time we've done one of these of the SEC, and all the teams experienced last year. You were great, so you didn't. But it's we could count on so many hands, all the gettable, like, oh, you could have pulled that one off. You were so close. You were a few plays away. Obviously, you were seconds away or half a second away from beating A&M. There's other ones. And then the Georgia game on the road, and at the same time, you could do that in the reverse for some of the wins. And so it's just, all right, that sucks. How can you improve from this game? And then at the end of the day, as much as this one sucks and you want to beat that team, the Vanderbilt game counts just as much for all the SEC stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before, like the rest of the league, unless you're an elite team, and really there's not an elite team this season, it appears, in the SEC, everybody just starts cannibalizing themselves, and so you've got to pick off your good wins when you have an opportunity to do it. Auburn still sits in a position where they have 4 quad one wins on the season. I don't think this changes there because, seeding and tournament, that's something we're about to get into the point where we're going to start talking about that. It's going to be close to a month till Selection Sunday. Don't really know how much that changes. I still think they're like around that 7 or 8 line right now. But it's going to be difficult for them going to Arkansas next Saturday. That's going to be a tough one to win that rematch. At the same time, if you're Auburn, you can maybe kind of keep in the back of your head, and I think it's important for people to remember this, that was a huge win for Alabama here in your building, but you've got an opportunity to go on the road and play them at the end of the regular season. And they did that to you last year. They lost a game 100%. On their home court that was a big one, and they came back and won at the end of the regular season on your home floor. And so, but at the end of the day, defense has got to be what shapes up for Auburn.
Of course.
96 points on your home floor is the most they've given up since they allowed Arkansas to score 97 in the COVID year. So if you go back and you include years where this gym was allowed to be full capacity, it's been a long time since a team scored that many points. And you look back several years into the Bruce Pearl era. And so lots for them to tune up on that side of the ball. But I thought it was interesting. Justin Ferguson pointed out to me after the game, Auburn's defensive KenPom rating, how many spots do you think they dropped after this game?
I have no idea.
They dropped 1 spot. That goes to show, and I'm not necessarily even playing devil's advocate here. I'm just saying that goes to show the type of offense you just went up against.
Yeah, of
But
course.
at the same time, all the pillars that Stephen Pearl just talked about are still very, very applicable. He said it, this team has to play better defense. Their better defenders have to play better on that side of the floor for them to beat the best teams on their schedule this season.
Well, and that's the thing, is it's going to continue to be tough. And the Florida game is the best example because it's, the best one they have of the defense set the tone and was able to give them a position to win, put them in a position to win. And so, honestly, like A&M put up a lot of points here. Yeah. Texas did as well and made a bunch of threes. And so that's just going to be the thing, is it's home or away. Every night's going to be tough. And I feel like Steve, the biggest reaction Steven had defensively was that Aiden Holloway 3. He loves to bang the scores table and take out some of the pixels, but he's done it a few times. But yeah, it's that effort thing. It's the being in the right spots. He took Dahad right out of the game after that. And it's just that continual. He coaches them very hard, but he demands a lot on that defense because he ultimately knows the defense is what is going to allow Auburn to go as far as they want to. Yeah, because it's a team that continues to score in the 90s in a lot of their SEC games, 92 points on your home floor today, but it wasn't enough to get it done. The Crimson Tide win here, 96-92. Again, Auburn is back in action quickly, right back in this building on Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock against the Vanderbilt
Commodores. And so we will have coverage of that one for you guys. And until then, head over to auburnundercover.com. All sorts of stuff from this game, videos of the post-game press conference from Nate Oates. And we just didn't even talk about Charles Bediako, by the way, this whole
that's kind of crazy.
Whole entire time. He was impactful. And obviously he heard it from the crowd.
Yes.
I thought what was most telling about the job that Keyshawn Murphy did is that Bediako only had 3 rebounds. So that was really, they did a good job in that regard, but you could just tell the difference a guy like him makes.
He makes such a difference.
Just catching a ball over everybody because you're 7 feet tall.
And really his only big scoring plays were out of timeouts. They set something up directly to him.
Right.
But, I mean, it was funny. I thought one of the funniest quotes of the post game was Nate Oates was like, it was some question about Aiden and like, oh, he's back again and all the booing and everything. And he was like, well, Charles helped him out on that one.
Yeah, Auburn fans gave it to him for sure. That was, that is an environment I think you have to replicate against Kentucky.
100%.
Because that was the best showing of this crowd all season.
Easily.
And we knew it was going to be that case. You've got another home game. I believe it's after the Arkansas game, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Oklahoma.
It's a Saturday.
Okay, so
yes.
it's after the Oklahoma game or something like that. But you do get Kentucky in this building again. And so we will see you guys on Tuesday for the Vanderbilt game. As our light goes out for Patrick Bingham, I'm Nathan King. See you guys over at auburnundercover.com.